He was like calm, respectful. I don't know. It was interesting. On social media, he says everything in interviews, but today when I was face to face with
next, that's who I've had my target on for a while now, and it's pretty much all teed up, ready to go. And I think that's probably the biggest pay-per-view that I'll have done to date, maybe including this one, but who knows. But a big fight and one I'm excited for.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know
he just got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends.
After Anthony Joshua's promoter agreed to the fight with Jake Paul, the two met to finalize discussions and complete the paperwork for their bout later this year. Jake Paul initially wanted it postponed until next year, but Joshua's team saw no need for a delay, especially with Joshua nearing the end of his career. Paul ultimately agreed, and the pair faced off in an intense stare-down during their media obligations. Unlike his last face-off, where he was all smiles, this time, Paul stood across from a towering 6'6" two-time heavyweight champion, one of boxing's hardest punchers today.
Think about this trend of YouTubers entering the world of boxing.
I personally think it's really good. The boxing hardcores, they don't like it because it's like, why are they disrespecting our sport? There's an Olympic system that you have to go through, and once you're qualified there, then you go through to the professional ranks. Whereas someone with a profile can just come out of nowhere and fight one of the best guys.
From the face-off, it was clear that Anthony Joshua felt insulted by Jake Paul. As his promoter warned, Joshua will be looking to take Paul's head clean off. Coming off a major career setback, Joshua is fueled by fury and determined to make a statement. One thing to remember, Joshua has a history of dismantling casuals who talk big about their boxing skills. After a former UFC heavyweight champion put up a fight against Tyson Fury, many believed he stood a chance against Joshua until Joshua knocked him out in the second round. If we're being honest, Jake Paul is in for the same fate. His career has been built on beating aging fighters and crossover athletes, but now he's stepping in with a real heavyweight destroyer. Joshua may be facing tough times, but even at his lowest, Paul is nowhere near his level. A British Lion may struggle, but his downfall will never come at the hands of a mere dog.
Boxers, because I want to take this more traditional boxing route of moving up into the rankings, fighting professionals, and taking the route to become world champion like a prospect of my caliber would be doing.
Is there risk with that though? Like, why do that? Like, I remember when you were
I
fighting
be a world champion.
Things escalated to the point where Jake Paul had to deny being on any substances after making a shocking call-out of two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua last week. The YouTuber turned boxer stunned the fight world by boldly declaring his desire to face Joshua in the ring. "I want to fight Anthony Joshua because I know I will freaking beat him," Paul proclaimed on his YouTube show, *BS with Jake Paul *. He went on to claim that Joshua has no chin, no skill, and is too stiff. "I love you, Anthony, we're friends and all, but I want to fight you," Paul added, even boasting that he would beat Canelo and other top fighters. Joshua hasn't fought since his loss to fellow Brit Daniel Dubois in September, while Paul, 28, was last seen in November, securing a win over ex-heavyweight world champion Mike Tyson.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, if I'm someone that runs, like what you said about, like, am I being myself now? I'll just always keep it 100. Like, if I'm
Earlier this year, rumors swirled about a potential showdown between Jake Paul and Mexican superstar Canelo Alvarez in May. However, those talks faded after Alvarez signed a lucrative deal with Reyes season. Paul's unexpected call-out of Anthony Joshua raised eyebrows, even prompting his brother Logan to seek answers. In a recent YouTube video titled *My Brother is Fighting Anthony Joshua*, the two were filmed mid-flight as Logan pressed Jake about his bold challenge. "When you called out Anthony Joshua, were you on meds?" Logan bluntly asked. Jake, 28, replied, "No, I don't do that." Then with a smirk, he quipped, "But I would if you've got some."
take lead, like, I've always let my coach lead. Like, whatever he thinks he should do. Ask Derek, the only thing I would dictate on is me wanting to do more. So that's probably the only thing I'll ever ask him to do. "Oh, can we do one more round on this? Can we do one more round on that?" Like, I'm not dictating writing out a program like at 8 o'clock at night when I should be in bed resting.
The conversation escalated when WWE star Logan Paul pressed further, asking, "Why did you do that?" Jake Paul openly shared his goal to become heavyweight champion while taking a jab at Joshua. "His chin is gone," he claimed. Logan quickly interrupted, reminding him, "But he's still Anthony Joshua." Unfazed, Jake fired back. "He's stiff. No rhythm, no skill, no power."
So we shall see. It's a big tease, I think. I think it's a big tease, but there's a weird, even just kind of projecting it. If Tyson Fury saw Anthony Joshua in the ring with Jake Paul, it might just tempt him.
Logan Paul quickly questioned the seriousness of the challenge, asking, "You're serious about fighting him?" Brimming with confidence, Jake Paul confirmed, "Yeah, it's in 2026. We already talked." As the conversation wrapped up, Logan couldn't help but acknowledge his brother's audacity. "Congrats on having such massive balls and being super rich," he remarked. Despite the buzz, one key figure remains doubtful: boxing promoter Eddie Hearn. The 45-year-old insists no commission would ever sanction a fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua.
Joshua against Jake Paul. Please put this to bed or light the fire. What's going on?
I mean, sorry. This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you. And if Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance.
"I don't think any commission should allow that fight," Eddie Hearn stated on a podcast. But we just saw Jake Paul fight a 60-year-old Mike Tyson, and that was ridiculous. Hearn dismissed Paul's challenge, pointing out that he's an active cruiserweight, nowhere near world level. "To be honest, I thought it was disgusting," he told a reputable news source. He acknowledged that Jake might be crazy enough to do it, but only for the money. The payday for fighting AJ would be obscene, but he's not thinking about the medical consequences of a fight like that.
You know, the only thing that was disappointing was he says 2026. I'll do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get really much better at this stage, but I don't know. Those two have spoken. I spoke to AJ this morning. He went, "Listen, of course, I'd fight." I mean, you know, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was...
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah. Listen, Jake creates massive events, right? You know that's going to create, like, unbelievable viewership, and no disrespect to Jake Paul, it's a straightforward night's work.
"There's a chance you may never see his head again after that fight. It could be removed from his neck," Hearn warned. "But all Jake is thinking about is $100 million. You got to be careful what you wish for." As of now, Anthony Joshua has yet to confirm his next fight after his brutal loss to Daniel Dubois last September. This leaves him available to enter negotiations with Paul, especially since he isn't tied to a world title. However, it was Jake Paul who pushed for the fight to happen next year, likely giving himself more time to prepare for what seems like an impossible challenge. Hearn has questioned why Paul isn't open to taking the fight now, insisting it could happen if the right offer is presented to Joshua.
You have said that Jake Paul and AJ could be a thing in the future, or at least when asked the question, you asked
to
make sure his insurance was okay. Is that a possibility?
I mean, look, I just, like, AJ's not a world heavyweight champion anymore, so we're not chasing unifications and undisputed. Like, would we fight Jake Paul for a huge amount of